were put on cruise ships
Yes.
to never return.
Yes.
All right. He said, "What do you mean?" Just what I mean. I said, my parents, which have a collage of background of many things, okay, and weren't on those cruise ships, that one-way cruise ships, but however, we are descendants of a transition that happened.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and and he said, "Well, I never looked at it." I said, "Okay, you are an Italian, yes. What do you call yourself?" Italian American.
Yes.
I said, "Oh, right. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now I said, now we're moving.
Yes,
forward."
indeed.
I said, now, because of the fact that we were born here in the United States, all right, there's a connotation that we use in terms of identity, Afro-American.
Yes.
He's African. He's an American. He was born here,
Yes.
so he's Afro-American. You can't displace that or disagree with that because of the fact that he was born in America. So what is he? He's an Afro-American. My name is Milton L. Jackson Sr.
How are you, Mr. Jackson? Tell me a little bit about your experience at the inauguration.
Well, experience once in a lifetime. To see a sea of human flesh gather together for a specific purpose, which is that historical journey that was made in bringing in Obama as the President of the United States.
What type of a message at this point, now this is in retrospect and this is after the inauguration and after the excitement and all, what type of message would you give to students at Hill House about your experience?
One thing which I would articulate to students is collectivism. For once, we had a function which was quite inclusive, not inclusive. It was a function where folks have gathered together for a specific purpose to see that things got done. That was to bring this man through. And again, it's to remind those, even in school, that it doesn't have to be any specific purpose, but if we move together collectively, we can get things done. And we can talk about, even homework, working together. Being a resource myself at one time for the school system, I will always talk about specific things in regards to business. It doesn't, you don't have to be an engineer or a doctor to go into business, but there's something you can do, to attain a certain level of efficiency. And I did that. This function clearly gives folks an opportunity or impression that we can all mash together and get it done. Versus the minority few that would try to control our destiny. That's one of the things I brought.
That was great. Thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
That won't help. I'm sorry.
And could you please tell me a little about yourself?
President of something called the Fickla Media Group. It's a company I started on my own.
Matter of fact, Reggie,
but it's
we're
been
down
involved
there.
with marketing, communications,
You had signs that
media,
the sinners are welcome.
literacy, just the whole mass
They
communication.
know they have signs. Sinners are welcome.
Can you just tell me a little bit about your experience in regard to the inauguration? Did you
Yes.
attend?
I did not attend physically, but there was a great event here in New Haven that evening.
All up on
It was
the-
an
all up
inaugural
on the
ball,
ball.
presidential ball.
Yes.
And it was for a foundation for the city, for the school system, that this particular organization helps to recruit volunteers. So it was a worthwhile cause, and people came together in droves. I think over 1,000 people attended this particular event, and it was really successful. I had a chance to be there as well as to document it for their marketing purposes, for YouTube, for access television, etc.
So what are your feelings about the inauguration and about the whole experience?
Yeah, the whole Obama mania phenomenon that we're involved with certainly has its political implications, but also has its community implications and its personal implications. So whenever there's a president, we kind of look at him as an archetype. The president is a symbol of what you want to be as an American, and the president always defines America for you. So the Obama phenomenon gives us a chance to redefine America for everyone.
Right, that's great. On a personal level, what significance does this experience have in your life?
On a personal level, just to say that you're alive to experience it, I mean literally, but also personally, although this is exactly personal, when you and I were 5 or 6 or 10, we didn't know who the president was.
That's true.
You know, we may have, but I doubt it. As I've asked people, maybe when I was 15 I really paid attention. But to hear 5, 6, 7, or 8-year-olds, for me to be able to hear them talk about they know who the president is and to articulate the name, that's been so personally kind of motivational to me.
Great. Now, we're actually doing this for a high school, Hill House High School. What kind of message would you give to students at that high school about this experience?
Well, you know, when folks talk about Hill House, they forget that the name is the Hill House Academics. That name was deliberately designed. There were schools, I think Boardman Institute or other schools before Hill House, but the Hill House Academics, that name was chosen specifically for a reason. So if they just look at Obama's legacy, is going to Columbia, he's going to law school, his academic, the books that he's written before he became president, I think they can see that presidents or successful people, or just people in general, have to express their narrative, to define their narrative, but also education on your educational path, and to define your educational path is so important. So that for the students at Hill House, breathe life into the history of your school. In fact, I think you guys are celebrating your 150th. 150 year. So the Obama phenomenon enables us to kind of understand the impact of history, but also not from a dead history, but you live and breathe and make history. So the Hill House academics, I would just say go Hill House academics.
Yes, great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Very good, thank you.
And what is your name, ma'am?
My name is Patricia Ross.
Mrs. Ross. My name is Bonnie Cofield. What, may I ask, could you tell me a little about yourself, Mrs. Ross?
Well, I'm a mother, grandmother, and a great-grandmother.
Great.
Right now, I'm somewhat semi-employed.
To go to the inauguration?
I was not able to go to the inauguration, but I did make sure that I was part of it by watching it on TV.
Wonderful.
At the place that I work.
Oh, good. And how did you feel with that experience?
Very elated, emotional, happy, and something you can, really believe.
Believe, right. Do you have a most memorable moment that happened throughout your watching the program? Is there anything that struck you? And
I think I like the evening part the best. Watching them move from place to place and watching them together.
Yes.
And the happiness,
Beautiful
seeing the
couple.
crowds. How everyone accepted them.
That's great. On a personal level, what significance would this have for you? This is your great grandbaby there walking on. What significance does that have for you, this whole presidential?
Well, being that it's the first thing, first time to have a black person elected as a president. Also that I was part of seeing this. And that I was able to share it with my great-grand, who I am taking care of right now, and trying to help her to understand. She wants to know why I'm always into everything of Barack Obama.
Yes.
What is it all about? Why, every time I see you, it's something about Barack, she says.
Well, that's okay. That's good, though.
Yeah. And that's basically,
It's
and
important for her.
hoping that things will change, and I have a feeling they are going to change.
I do as well. What type of message, since you are a mother and a grandmother and a great-grandmother, so you have experience with children, and this is actually for a message would you say to those students about your experience?
Well, I would say that things can change, and you yourself are the ones that are going to change it. So you have to have some positive thoughts and begin to think about change.
Yes.
How are you going to change this?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Hello. Could you tell me what your name is, please?
Betty Kador.
Betty, can you tell me a little about yourself, please?
I am a single mother of 4. I'm a nurse for the Department of Corrections.
Did you go to the inauguration?
I did.
You did?
I did.
Could you please tell me about your experience?
Well, I almost didn't go. first, we considered the weather, and I was debating back and forth. Our vacation was going to be a 5-day vacation, turned into just a 1-day trip. We have a newborn baby, and we didn't want to travel for 5 days with him. So at I guess maybe about 12:30 that night, I decided we weren't going to go. And my daughter was so disappointed. She was 14. She says, "Why are we going?" And I said, "Because the weather is going to be terrible. It's supposed to snow at 12:30 when everything is supposed to be taking place." She said, "Well, Martin Luther King did it." And from her saying that, I was like, you know what? Absolutely right. Pack a bag. Let's go.
Great.
So me, my other daughter and son, and we took my daughter's friend and grandmother, called up and told them, "Get dressed, we're leaving." So we actually cut out about 2 o'clock that morning.
Wow. And you got there inauguration day.
Yeah, we got there on inauguration day around 8:30. But it was so backed up with the traffic and trying to get into town. The highways were all shut down.
Yes.
And there were signs telling you to go to the subway stops.
Right.
So the first subway stop was full. Went to the second one. It also was full, but we parked in a restaurant lot. Got there. We must have been like number 300 in line to purchase a ticket to get on the subway. So, I'm like a real social person, so I'm talking to anybody native from here, anybody from here, anybody. So one guy got off the bus and said, "You know what, you should take the bus down to the next subway site. I just left from there, there's no one there." So we were we had been there for 45 minutes waiting in line, and maybe we were number 200 at that time. So he told us to take the Rhode Island bus. So when the bus come, we all got on, went to the next site. Sure enough, there was no line at all. Walked right up into the subway. Wow. But we didn't know how to purchase tickets. So now that was the big deal, trying to get someone to help us to purchase the tickets. And I have to say, everybody was helpful. Yes. Anybody that was there, they was like, "Oh, you just need to do this, and you need to do that." We got the tickets, and we got on the train, and went on in.
So when you actually got down to the mall area and all,
it was exciting because the subway that we took let us off behind the mall. So when you get off, when you walk out of the station, everything is there once you're towards the back. So I'm like, well, there's this massive mall, mall that they're talking about. Of course, it was on the other side, but everything was shut off. You couldn't get over there. But there were people there with all kinds of little gadgets, taping it and recording it from people that they had inside, like in those stands. Okay. So they were so helpful, so like radio, like, "Come on over here and listen and look." They just had everything sitting there, and there was like puddles all over. So a lot of people were thinking along that line. And you actually could see, like on the tape, or you could hear the video recording of everything that was going on.
That is fabulous. I mean, you noticed that the people were just so helpful and
everybody. I was, when we were in the huddle, I was pointing out to the kids because it was actually an Asian lady who had the one that we were at, and I was like, "Look at our crowd. We had Asian, we had West Indian, we had even some Pakistanians there, we had some black African Americans there, we had some Caucasian. Everybody was in this huddle, and I took my little cell phone out because I wanted to record the message. And I was like, "Can I just put it up close up to the ear?" I took my phone and put it right to the mic so you could hear it, record it. I just found there was a lot of love there. Yes, there was a lot of love. And what amazed me most is like you have all these people and not one arrest.
Incident, absolutely. What was maybe the one if in fact there was a personal significant something that happened, what would that have been for you?
I think during the speech and just everybody, everybody is so tentative. And people are crying. You feel like the emotions of everybody. Actually, I really never really felt like a true American, and or that I even belong here, had a place. But walking away that day, I felt like I belong. I felt that maybe there is hope. I felt like I wanted to be a part of this. And how I explained to my kids is like, now you have to just find your niche, and you have to do something to be a part. And you know, they were kind of like wondering, what do you mean? I said, okay, if we're gonna clean up the kitchen, maybe one person don't want to do the whole kitchen, but if you have, okay, I'll take off the silverware and you wash the glass or you do the plate, guess what? The kitchen will be done and nobody's overwhelmed. That's right. And I just feel like he's only one person.
Yes.
He's in a top position. Yes. But if we all just do our little part, everything that needs to be done can be done. You know, I said for kids who have decided not to go to school,
Right.
I mean, you have to go to school.
Yeah.
Education is like so important. And I'm just one of those people who believe that God uses what we least expect, you know? And none of us are like so significant just standing here. But that doesn't mean that you're not the one that he's going to call next. And, you know, there's the importance of is what you seek out and get. So I don't know, I told my kids, right now you need to decide what it is. But everybody in this house has to do something.
That's right.
You know, and we're working on that. Whether it's cleaning a church and listening to somebody along that road, or if you're on a bus and you see somebody a little down, maybe you talk to them, you know, just something to encourage somebody and do your part. If there's something that you've been lacking and, you know, is causing you to be slow, don't do it anymore. Just pep up and do what you need to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Although it may, when you've gone to school for 12 years, it seems like so long. But when you get to be my age, it was just a short while, you know? And I think that it's so important that each person finds something to do and then bring back into their community to encourage them and to get, you know, be a friend and to lead these other children. Everybody is a leader in themselves, right? But they have to stay in school. They have to get some type of a trade or something to come back and build up a community. And that's all it's about. It's just giving back to the community so that each of us become strong and be a shoulder for the next, or to be a leader for the next. Because not to have leadership is
That's what it is.
Thank you so much. It's been very informative, and it's a pleasure to meet you.
Major for all of us, but it's just going to be part of what they grow up with, you know, which is nice. And that's what I just want to say. It's like a breath of fresh air. You know? And I'm actually very excited. You know, so I wasn't there, but it just the feeling and just watching him from, you know, the beginning to now and where he got, and you know, I think he's going to do wonderful things. So I'm glad to be part of it.
I took my 84-and-a-half-year-old mother, because she kept correcting me, to the inauguration with tickets, which I have in my purse, these fabulous tickets that I stood in line for 2 hours on the 19th to get. And then we got up at 5 o'clock in the morning and got on the metro and with millions and millions of people, and made it down to our section and stood in line for another 3.5 hours and were turned away. We could not get in. Wow. My mother was just so excited at her age to witness this. And the thing that was so devastating about that, nobody kind of told us what was going on. We were just standing there, and it was freezing. And standing there, and finally a young lady said to her mother, I'm going to go down here and see what's going on. So from what I found out after the fact, the Secret Service made the call because there were some security issues. People were jumping over walls and things that may have caused problems. However, that was really, really tough. And I have this ticket that's worthless, and people stood in line.
It's not worthless.
Well, you know, no, I don't mean worthless because I'm gonna frame it and I'm gonna give it to my, for my great grands and grands and all of that. But what I'm saying is I probably would have done just as well if I had done like Betty, or if I had done like Milton and just taken my mom to the mall and stood there. At least we would have seen something. We saw nothing. There were no cameras.
Where were you?
We were at Section A, which
Where
is that right in the front of the Capitol. We would have been to the right behind the people that were seated.
Blue section.
Blue section.
Yeah,
Blue A.
that's what I was gonna ask. I heard that there was.
Actually have the ticket,
Let's
which
see it.
happy to share with you.
Hold on,
Wow.
the camera. Hold on, what's it?
And I'll pass it around. And it shows you on the back where your section is and how you were to enter, etc.
But
Rosa Delora.
Rosa Delora, is
Right.
that right? What
Yes,
was the
yes.
story
Oh,
behind that?
wow.
How we got the tickets.
Wow.
We're just, I can't, like you said, there were 2 million people there and not one arrest. I mean, nobody was ugly. Nobody was nasty. Everybody was really, really, even when we got turned away, tens of thousands of us, not just, everybody I met a young lady, 2 young ladies from, one from California and one from Nevada, crying.
Yeah.
I felt so bad for them because they had come a long way. And they were crying, and then you met other people that, were like kind of stunned, but then you met people that, okay, nobody started to get, angry. We just kind of said, okay, this is what it is.
We were listening to everything.
Everything.
We did not, we had one, if we went out of the room, there was one in the room where we would go. And that's how we looked at it. All
Yeah, we had really good.
I guess it just about to give you an idea. I saw this painting, and my girlfriend had been buying paintings, so I called her on the cell phone and asked her, did she know this artist? And was he one of the paintings you wanted? And I was on the phone a maximum of 2 minutes, and I was like, I have to go because my hand is so cold. When I got off the phone, my hand was actually hurting. I just took it under my coat, and I held it like this to warm it.
Yes.
And I had on gloves.
Yes.
Wow.
I bought the hand warmer on my face.
Initially we decided we were going to go and do a 5-day trip.
She does.
But then when we had the new baby, we didn't want to take him because we figured it would be so cold. Well, the 5-day trip ended up turning into a 1-day trip. And I guess like all day my daughters was like, Mom, are we going? I was like, I don't know. So like I told them, let me lay down. They let me lay down for an hour. And when I woke up, I said, we're not going. And my youngest daughter, who's 14, she came up, she says, can I ask why we're not going? And I said, well, first of all, I went online, and they're supposed to start snowing about 12:30. I said, not only is it going to be cold, but then we're going to be standing in snow. And she says, well, Martin Luther King did it. And when she said that, it just rubbed me. And I was like, you know what? You're absolutely right. We're going.
Yeah.
Packed our stuff,
Yes.
and we got dressed, and we left out. When did we leave your house? About 3 something. I thought it was like 2. About 3
Tuesday
something.
morning.
3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Tuesday morning.
We picked up my daughter's friend and her grandmother,
Tuesday morning.
and we went 3 in the morning on Tuesday.
Yeah,
The day
Tuesday.
of.
Oh.
And we drove there. We got there, which was a good time because we didn't have no traffic. Did you catch traffic on?
No.
Okay, there was no traffic. We got there around 8:30. When we got there, the first exit said they were locked.
Washington, 5.5 hours?
Yeah.
Oh,
on a
good
hours
days you
to-
can't do that.
And
You
we,
would be right at the traffic.
the first exit to the subway was blocked. They said it was full. So then they were telling you, there was a sign telling you to detour off to park, not to go in or you're going to get stuck.
Yeah.
So we went to the second one. When we got there, I dropped everybody off to get in line, and I couldn't find parking. So eventually on the way out, I saw a restaurant. I was like, oh Lord, please don't let my car get towed. I parked in the restaurant slot, and we walked back, which had to be at least a half a mile back to get the subway, to be like number 300 in line
At the subway
at the
entrance.
subway to purchase a ticket to get on the subway. We was there for like 45 minutes, and finally I started talking to people. Are you from here? You have any ideas? And this guy came. He said, you know what? You should go to the next subway. Well, I thought the next subway was like maybe a block or 2. Well, it's like a half an hour ride on the bus to the next subway. Got that. Got there, sure enough, there was no line. But I didn't know how to buy a subway ticket. So now we're sitting there and we're trying to figure it out. The people are helping. Everybody was helping. There was no problem with it. Got there, we got on the subway. They told us where to get off at, but by the time we got there, he had already sworn in, and he was giving his speech. So, in the back of it. So there was
you were
no
towards the Washington Monument.
Nope, the other side. We were facing the monument. We were behind everything.
You were behind the building. Oh,
They got
okay.
off there.
He was leaving. I'm assuming going to start the parade. And he
Luncheon.
walked. He walked over a little bridge they had created, and the kids saw him. By the time I got there to like look, he was off. He had gone over the bridge.
Wow. Story that came out of all of this around his cell phone. And the question I wanted to ask everybody who went was, now that you went and you've come back home and you've seen the way that the media has portrayed the inauguration, what difference is there in the way that the media portrayed it versus what you actually saw in DC at that time?
What happened is that when the enthusiasm of the crowd, yes we can, that was real. It reminded me a lot about the Million Man March. It was that inclusiveness. People got in, get on the bus. Spike Lee made the picture, get on the bus. And I was sort of taking that thing, well, get on the bus. But the most charming thing that I encountered down there, make down.
Yes, they were.
Make down. It was a parade, and the enthusiasm of this, and of course, marching, Rosa Parks started us off, okay? We're able to sit down, and here comes Kenny walking. Now we have Antelope running. That was the Rock. And, and that whole theme, it was the movement of things. It was almost like a dance.
Yes.
The way people were moving, there was sensation in between the cars, the crowd would move down one street, and all of a sudden you saw the men in black.
Yeah.
You had to go that way. So they did a dash, going, but it was destiny. Destiny. Destination. There was never, there was never any, and folks were never thought, or they didn't think that they were going to get there. It was destiny. If someone put up a barrier, I grant you, it would have been just trampled down. Because at that point in time, when we all got off the metro, and people were saying, well, which way did we go? There was a big sign, said this way. Folks were going through Macy. Macy had it all locked up. You couldn't get through there. So we said, well, which way do we go? And then all of a sudden, there was always somebody that's walking that was like pointing. You follow that person.
Yeah.
And like she was saying, vendors.
Yes.
I have never seen anything. They were selling a piece of paper for bookmarks.
Yes. Well, that's economic stimulus.
Right.
That was
Only in America.
The inauguration was a
Right.
stimulus.
So that was your bailout,
That's right.